Hey guys, Lancer here. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for joining me while we look at some common EDH commander cards that you should be playing. Let's get to it. So the first card, Gaia's Touch from the Dark. It's a very, very powerful card that I am going to be 100% sure to keep in some of my decks in the future. 2 green for enchantment. You may put an additional land in play during each of your turns, but the land must be a basic forest. You may sacrifice Gaia's Touch to add 2 green to your mana pool. This ability is played as an interrupt. Land decks will love this. Or even better, if you can get some card draw coming through from your green or white or red side, then you'll be able to take the advantage of getting that extra land drop way more consistently. My dinosaur deck would actually prefer a card like this to a lot of other cards because of the instant boost where I can recoup the 2 mana I put in here at a later stage to get a big creature out a turn or two early as well. I think this card is amazing for what it does, and the fact that it's an enchantment actually makes it better sometimes. 90 cents on TCG from the dark, and that was a point where it was pretty pricey, and it seems to be moving back up there. So I'd keep a close eye on this one. I think it's good. Next, whoop, Porcelain Legionnaire. I actually got 4 of these guys. One of them is in an artifact deck, but then again, that's meant to just pump out small artifacts as early as possible. I think this is one of the more powerful artifact creatures that you can put out on turn 2 or 3. And depending on how much you deal with mana or life gain, sorry, this is actually a very efficient creature. So let's have a read. Porcelain Legionnaire, 2 colorless, 1 Phyrexian mana, artifact creature soldier. So he has pay 2 life instead of paying the 1 Phyrexian white mana. And he's a 3/1 with first strike. Very efficient creature. You can really pump these out. They're not expensive at all. If you want a deck that you're not doing well enough at the start of the game, people are just swinging into you, a card like this will really put a stop to it until you can get your feet under you and start getting back at them. So I think a card like this is actually going to be far more useful than you can think to balance out your deck. So keep an eye on these cards. Huh? Oh, okay. Grim Discovery. Grim Discovery is 1 colorless, 1 black for a sorcery. Choose one or both. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and or return target land from your graveyard to your hand. Why not both? Why not both? In the right decks, this is a 2-for-1. And more importantly, even if it's not a 2-for-1, you get what you want when you need it. If a card is putting stuff into your graveyard and this is in your hand, you have no fear that you're going to miss the creature you want or land drops. At some point, you're going to get what you want, and you don't even have to get the best of what you need to get advantage of 2 mana. But it's an amazing card for 2 mana. It really is. I'm amazed at the effectiveness of a card like this. There are other cards that do it for less, but this card is pretty much a, what is it, 4 cents card. Similar to, it's not a creature, so it's not the exact same as Eternal Witness, but it is very similar to certain other cards that are sorcery speeds, cards like that. So Eternal Witness is a creature. It makes it a bit better, but sometimes sorcery speed is fine. Sorceries are fine as well. Next card, Nettle Sentinel from Eventide. 1 green for a 2/2. Creature Elf Warrior. Nettle Sentinel doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. Whenever you play a green spell, you may untap Nettle Sentinel. Now, there's a couple of different ways to play this card. You could use it and play it along with a card that says all your creatures tap for mana. And you can then use it as a ramping way. So you can go creature, 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 untap, untap, untap whenever you need it, and then he just gives you mana. Or, since he's an elf, you can put him in an elf deck and just have him pump out huge amounts of pretty much mana, along with just every time an elf comes into play, you just untap, play him, untap. So it's the same way that you'd want to work him in most cases. And he is unique, so you got to work around him. But a card like this is very, very effective in certain decks. Next card, Ingerture, 4 colorless, 1 red for a 3/3. Destroy Ingerture When Ingerture comes into play, destroy target artifact. Perfect. 5 mana for a 3/3 that says destroy target artifact on a creature's body. Amazing. It's also got evoke 1 red, which means that you can play this card, let it get sacrificed instantly, and then it will then be able to destroy target artifact like you just played it and then sacrificed it. Very, very powerful. Sometimes you don't mind just doing the evoke early on and then just figuring out if there's a good way to bring it back from the graveyard. 10 cents. It's not a 2-for-1, but it lets you do 2 things, which means that it's far more effective than just a card that only does 1 thing. Having a card like this in your hand is never a bad feeling. In fact, that's kind of how you should judge a card is if I have it in my hand, does it make me feel bad at certain times of the gameplay? And if that's the case, you want to cut the ones that really do that too often. Next card, Shadow Rift. So Shadow Rift is 1 blue for an instant. Target creature gains Shadow Walk until end of turn, and you get to draw a card. You don't lose anything with playing this card. You can get a creature to swing into an opponent, maybe get the advantage of whatever that creature is dealing damage to the opponent is. Then you get to draw a card. This card is perfect. 18 cents. Almost every blue deck that has some kind of special creature effect should be playing this, or if they just want to filter their hand. It's not a bad card in either ways. 1 mana draw card is usually at least a couple in blue and certain other decks. It's not bad to add because you can just filter your hand. Yeah. And with something that has an effect like this, it's a great bonus. Next, add 1 red to your mana pool for each goblin in play. Of course, this is only good in Goblin's deck. It is also creeping out very slowly. But in a Goblin's deck, this card is insane. In a Goblin's deck that's going to produce like 6, 7, 8 goblins in turn 4 or 5, you're going to get like 9, 10 mana out of this when you need it. You know, especially with some of the goblins that just say, oh yeah, tap double the amount of goblins you already have in play. This card is amazing for that. It's very effective. 25 cents on TCG. It's common. I'd get it. I'd keep an eye on it. Get it. Goblins are always going to get a bit of support as well. So, next card, Preordained. Preordained is 1 blue, sorcery. Scry 2, then draw a card. Perfect early or late card. It gets you making sure that you have everything that you need when you need it. If you have a turn that feels useless, just use this card and at least you can try to prepare for a future turn. You're going to get some value no matter what. This card used to be like almost $4. And thanks to a lot of reprinting, it's dropped down to less than 60 cents. So 24 cents on TCG. Great. Recommended. Go for it. And okay, next card. Bubbling Muck. Urza's Destiny. 1 black. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an additional black. Sorcery speed. It's $1.20 on TCG. It is moving up, but it isn't on the reserve list. And I think a card like this is amazing in red black or red black white decks. It gives you okay. It's not amazing in multicolored decks, but it is amazing because you got Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, which allows all of your lands to become swamps as well. You can use that to really scale a card like this to make sure that it produces 10, 12 mana when you need it. and just close out the game on the spot. It's going to be really hard because people won't be expecting you to just come up with 12 mana. Black doesn't do that. Red doesn't do that. White doesn't normally do that kind of stuff. So when you pull out, oh, I'm just going to double all my mana for one turn, most people are going to get caught off guard with that kind of stuff. So, we expect green to be able to do unusual ramping stuff, and usually that still costs a full turn for them. This is not going to cost you a turn to do. And at the same time, you can get a huge amount of benefit on the turn you cast this. So, great card. One or two of your decks probably should have this, especially if you have Urborg, and an easy way to get Urborg onto the field. There's a lot of mana. There's a lot of artifacts or mana land searching that lets you find lands like that, put them into the field. So I recommend looking into that first, but this is a good card. And last card for the day, Night's Whisper, 5th of Dawn, 1 colorless, 1 black for a sorcery speed. Draw spell. You draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. 1 colorless, 1 black. This pretty much fits in almost any deck. And it is moving fast. Sorry guys, I did not catch this really at all. But in the last month, it's moved up by almost 100%. It's now $2 on TCG, and some of the other copies are going up even faster. This is, yeah, it's an expensive card. It is actually an expensive card. I got 4 of them, but I got this ages ago, and it was nowhere near. It's just common. It's just a common, I swear. But I mean, it says uncommon here, but I'm pretty sure it's just a common, and it looks like it's not coming down in price anytime soon. So I'd probably see if a reprinting of a card like this is going to come up. But outside of that, these are all perfectly fine, functioning common cards that you can add to your deck to just make it unique and feel a bit better when you play it as well. Yeah, some of these cards are going to. Anyways, guys, have a good one. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to continue with series like this and see who else likes it and joins us. Thanks again, and have a good one. See ya.